Welcome to the breakdown of the prelims of UFC 286 in London, which has just finished. These cards on this side of the pond never fail to deliver, and this one was an absolute banger. Want to keep this one under 10 minutes, so let's just go. Please like and subscribe, it really does make a difference. Alright, so women's MMA strikes again. What can I say? Hardy in this one was pretty convincing. Always a risk taking an unknown prospect like Miller, but clearly the timeout didn't affect Hardy too much in there. Miller was easy to read in how she set strikes up and was unable to take her down at crucial moments, and Hardy was simply stronger in the clinch. Not a bad fight, but all the rounds played out pretty much the same way. I rarely start cards off with losing records, but hey, step into bear traps at your peril. Nice win for Hardy, she was just better in there in all areas and deserved the UD win. Miller did show some aggression and some moments, and I think she'll get another chance. So UD win for Hardy and 0-1 to start the card off. Alright, I copped a lot of abuse for picking the underdog in this one, and as usual, I proved to be a genius. I said Klein was being overvalued, and I of course was absolutely correct. The judges got this one horribly wrong in my opinion. Herbert for me won the first two by keeping good distance at range as I said he would, and laying good knees up the middle as Klein tried to negate the distance and step in. It was very close, as both men had moments in the first two, but I had Herbert 2-0 going up into the third for the damage he did. Third round was where the issues with the scores happened. Klein clearly thought he was down and fought with some urgency, coming in close twice, and Herbert hit 2 nut shots in succession and was rightfully docked a point. I still had that round a draw 9-9 with Herbert winning it, and the point would have caused a draw in that round. Somehow the judges called it a split draw, obviously giving Klein a 10-8 in the third, which to me was ridiculous. Nut shots just don't pay the bills, son. Not a robbery, but Herbert won this fight and his stock rose still, so this had me still at 0-1. Alright, so the curse is over finally, and I don't feel that good about it. Typical women's MMA fight, so shit. A lot of clinching and using elbows and knees, which would use to do most of the damage in this one. There was a lot of bad blood coming into this one for some reason, and I don't know why, as they're both irrelevant and they seem to have no history that I'm aware of. Second round was arguably the closest, with that being the hardest to call for me. Clear round 1 and 3 for Wood. I called this fight forgettable, and I bet before it even started, and I can barely remember what happened, and it's 5 minutes later. From now on, I'm just going to say who won when these shitty fights happen, and just save some of my valuable time on this surf. I'll take the win though, fuck it. Unanimous decision, and finally getting on the win column. Alright, this was just murder. What do I say about body investment? It's so underrated in MMA, in a game where people are always headhunting. Hadley cracked Gordon very hard to the liver early in the fight, and Gordon just crumbled and then got beaten down like a drum on the ground. I said he would win more impressively than Mokaev did against Gordon, and boy, my breakdown is actually going to be longer than this fight was. Hadley called out Mokaev, and I think it will happen sooner or later, but for now I think the UFC build them both. Really nice statement win. Hadley got this by TKO, and 2-1, we're off. Alright, what a disappointing end to this fight. Duncan looks really sharp in this one, starting out. Picked strikes early and made Dusko really tentative. Then he stepped in and clinched up really nicely to the cage. As Dusko went to turn out of his grip to reset, his knee just popped out. Really big shame for Dusko, who I think was on his way to losing the fight anyway. He's going to be out for a while. From the little we saw of Duncan, he looks crisp and strong in there. He's going to cause problems at middleweight, which is generally a very underskilled division. Yeah. Duncan by a TKO, but not the most satisfying win. Yeah, taking me up to 3-1. Let's go. Alright, I was really looking forward to this one, and I saw this as a banana skin for Murphy, but I picked him to get it done, and he did. It was a very good fight. Story of this fight was basically the timely takedowns from Santos at different stages in each round. Murphy had the more impactful shots in each round, causing more damage throughout, mixing it up to the body and head. Santos really showed a chin, and then used this to get in close. He landed a few head kicks and timed some really excellent takedowns. Santos did have more control time, but I don't feel he did enough with it. And Murphy did more damage when the fight was standing and was more active in the striking. According to the scoring criteria, Murphy rightly won this one, but I was nervous when the scorecards were read out. Murphy, by the way, was way too easy to take down at times, and he's really going to need to work on that because against the better guys in the division, he's going to have some issues. Fight went to a split decision, Murphy edged it. Nice win against a nice contender. Nice win against a good contender. Took me to 4-1. I think Santos is going to get another shot in the UFC. He's very good. All right, Mokaev needed a really dominant performance in this one, and this gave me really mixed feelings. First round, he looked excellent. He dropped Filho with a body kick, and he generally looked sharp, bouncing on the feet, evading kicks. Now, the way that Mokaev defended Agili about a minute into the round was so high level, and something I need to point out. Now, as he was going down, he kind of kept his body elevated as Filho tried to lock him up, and then he patiently used this elevation to just pop his head out. If you practice BJJ, you'll know how tough this skill is to pull off. Mokaev was stronger, transitioned through guard with ease against a guy that's decent on the mat and invites these positions, but then second round, he just let Filho back in. He was far less active, threw some wanky spinning elbows, looked really goofy. He did manage to get a takedown and control ground and pound at the end of the round, so I did have him 2 up. But he makes it look a lot harder in there than he often needs to, and this is going to be a problem, I think. Maybe it's the injury, I don't know. Now, the third round, Mokaev played it safe, wet blanketed him, got a body triangle and got the back. Gave himself plenty of time to work. He did lose the position for a moment, and in a moment that almost lost him the fight, he got locked in a really nasty knee bar, and his knee was literally pointing the other way. I don't know how he managed to not tap to that. Really great resilience. What a flexible man. Honestly, I don't know what to make of this fight, though. He's not the most exciting to watch, but he's effective. He kind of saved the day by cranking the neck with a minute to go and getting a tap. Great resilience. Won this by sub. I think he's going to be out for a while with an injury, though. He'll need surgery. Took me to 5-1. All right, this was devastating and not in the way that I expected. If Patterson wasn't a Brit, I'd be openly mocking him for being the weight bully cunt that he is. But after what happened to him, I think this would just be piling on. Bro, you're 6'3", you're fighting at 155. It's embarrassing, you're a beanpole. There's going to be a price to pay for going into a weight class, cutting that much weight, and this, well, yeah. Patterson carried a 10-inch reach advantage and did well to drop him with a jab early, but that was the height of his success. He attempted a leg kick which got caught and then just got smacked with an absolutely devastating overhand left and then got battered on the ground. His head was bouncing off the canvas. It was terribly ugly. Askmoz got in close and just fucked him up. Now, after the fight was called off, and way too late in my opinion, Patterson was still trying to go for double legs on like his coach, on the ref. He was trying to fight everyone. He didn't know where he was. He got absolutely destroyed. Great win for Askmoz, the Red Fox. This is going to be a man to watch. Devastating KO. Took me to 5-2. Alright, this was another real banana skin here, and the pick and mods reflected this. Such a slow tempo to this fight. I called Braveheart, and he must have been watching Merab's dirty work on loop over the weekend. Morales was checking leg kicks well at the beginning and got the best of those exchanges. Duncan did hit a nice big right that got his respect. They both wobbled each other at the end of the first as the fight burst into life for a very brief moment. It made it a very hard round to call. I thought Morales defended the takedowns well, and I thought his knockdown was clearer, so I gave the first round to him. Duncan was going for takedowns in the second and got some back time. He hit some knees to the thigh. Morales did hit a nice switch to escape control and started loading up. He did hit a few nice shots. I do think Braveheart edged it though in the second round with control time against the cage, as neither man really did any damage. I felt like the third, it was 1-1, and the third was going to decide the winner. Duncan played it out really smartly in the third and just controlled with pressure, proper Merab style. Kept him up against the cage, not much done, but very clear round for him. 2-1 to Duncan. One judge gave it 37 Morales. Somehow. Anyway, it was rightfully called for Duncan. Should have been a unanimous, but they gave him a split decision. Took me to 6-2. Alright, last fight on a very long prelim card. Shaw looked a little chunky going up a weight class, but this was a decent performance. First round, it took him a while to get into it. Amirkhani hit some nice knees up close. Now, Shaw got very easily taken down at the midpoint of the round, and that did not look good for him. Shaw hit a nice head kick to start round 2. Amirkhani was showing signs of slowing, which he always does. He's got no gas tank. Then Shaw just started pressing forward, finding shots, started busting up the eye. Amirkhani then started going for desperation takedowns, and I knew it was over. He just pretty much gave up, and you could see he was exhausted. Gave his neck up. Shaw grabbed it, took the advantage, got a sub. I'm not really convinced with Shaw, to be honest. He might struggle at this weight class, but we'll see. It was a nice win. 7-2 on the card, and a great end to the prelims, I guess. Again, I retain my winning percentage of 71%. Thanks again to all the new subscribers. If you can spread the word and drop a thumbs up, that would be really nicely appreciated. See you again for the main card.